Alright, let's make sure everything is up and running. What's my stream signal looking like? Alright. Okay, let's check my YouTube stream. Come on, give me analytics already. I want to make sure stream health is good, everything's flowing. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. How are we doing? Okay, stream health is looking good. Is anything wrong? Alright, let's test the soundboard, make sure that goes off without a hitch. Okay, looks like soundboard is up. Let's turn that down a little bit, that was loud. Okay. We are set and ready to go. Hello everyone, welcome back to another live stream with Tea and Toast with Ghost. I am your host, Ghost. So we're gonna jump into things. And oh yes, before I forget, I looked up how to get this back again, and I got it. So double barrel action, baby, all the time. Let's call that thing a sniper rifle. I call it a head splitter, but still. But got my weapons and stuff. SDU. Since when do I have enough for SDU? I shouldn't. I don't. Okay, so elemental sniper rifle. Darn. Okay. So let's see. Okay, the boss. Let's see. Okay, that one's technically after, so let's see. See, that's Claptrap. That's the Sage God. That's the Sage Ripper. Funny thing about that. Okay. Seeing as that I've only got about 2 actual side missions left. Well, I guess we'll start with Claptrap over here. And then we'll do that. Alright, let's roll. Although, anyone there, is anyone else excited for the return of the Scary Movie franchise? I know I am. Just in case anyone's wondering. I actually remember the first one when it came out, and I actually didn't get to watch it till it came out on VHS. I mean, the thing that was sad for me was that originally I thought it was just stoner comedy. Later I realized it's got an overshield too.
I feel like some kind of
But later I realized it wasn't just stoner comedy. It was stoner comedy. It was more making fun of the horror movies. Although I have to admit, my favorite scene from all of the Scary Movies until this new one, because I haven't seen it yet, is the scene with the clown. And the bed. Uncle Ray Ray's got a game. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to this, considering the fact that Hollywood's been putting out little crap constantly. Now, I know those who will disagree with me that, you know, it's good, you just don't appreciate it. No, I will quote WWE's D-Generation X team. I don't like being told what I can and cannot like. Or what I should like. And I like my comedy offensive, funny, and something that is actually makes fun of something that is humorous. I mean, that's kind of the main problem nowadays. It's only cool to make fun of Republicans and things that are appropriate. And then, I think I said this on a previous live stream, but, you know, that is the literal definition of tyranny. Because the first thing to die when tyranny takes over is comedy. Comedy dies.
Hey, I actually like this one.
And right now, our comedy is dying, being replaced with
should have looked both ways.
With the approved comedy. It's almost like the approved musics in Nazi Germany. And yes, I will make that comparison here until the day I die. That's an interesting adaptation for him. Let's go find Claptrap. I don't even know where he is. Shredded.
Bro, come spot me, bro. Wanna get shredded, bro?
Quit talking like a gym influencer, Claptrap. It's disgusting.
Sup, bro? You wanna Hulk up, bro?
Who do you think you are speaking to, huh?
What, bro? Just get my swole on at my new gym, bro. You should get in on these games, bro.
These games, are they monetary?
No way, bro. The Shredded Summit helped me get yoked out to transistors, bro. Check it out, bro.
Yoked out
This is
transistors.
me before I did the course here, bro. Mad weak, bro. This is me after the Shredded Summit, bro. Got ripped like a losing lottery ticket, bro.
I
Ripped
have
like a
never had
losing lottery
lottery
ticket. That is an incredibly
stop
poor
calling it
analogy.
Jeez. After we liberate Kairos from the Order, people are gonna start feeling bad about themselves for different reasons, right? So I built this sweet fitness course to profit off their budding body insecurities. Problem is, people keep telling me the Shredded Summit is impossible, right before they fall to their deaths. Help me prove the haters wrong.
Right before they fall to their deaths. Yes, Claptrap.
You should have said that from the start. I will participate.
Yes! Now let's get those gains, rookie.
Rookie.
To conquer my Shredded Summit, you'll need to power through 3 vertical challenges without dying horribly. Before we start, let's limber up those grappling muscles. Jump, climb, and grapple over to my hunky hologram. Nice first set. Let's keep that blood pumping. Follow me! Your pecs and deltoids and butt clenchers aren't the only weird meat muscles we work here. The Shredded Summit also tests your weird meat brain.
I am only metal and circuits. Keep your butt clencher.
You gotta be clever about finding grapple points as you climb.
Was that meant to be a challenge?
That was just a warm-up. Meet me at the first challenge and let's get jacked!
Now, which way does he want me to go? Oh, whoops. I got too far ahead of myself. But seeing as that comedy
should probably be like spotting you, huh? If you're too weak for this, I have some syringes that'll bulk you up. What are your feelings on back?
you know, comedy is on its way of dying in this country. You know, we need to go back to actually be allowing offensive to be funny. I mean, go back to the 2000 show called The Boondocks, for Pete's sake.
Come on, rookie. Flex that. Challenge one time. Hey, can I do the voice again? I have a
And
I worked really hard on.
Fine. But just this once.
Jump and reach, bro. Fire those traps to crap, bro.
I am afraid your son is also lacking traps to grab.
This last one's tricky. Let's see your acrobatics, rookie.
And where is it? Oh, it's not.
Impressive. I have underestimated you.
Sick flip turn. Who would have thought someone could be so agile while carrying so many large automatic weapons? That's one down. Now do a box jump into that box and meet me down at challenge 2. Time to work some.
If only double jumping actually stopped that much velocity, that would actually be impressive. Game physics are crazy like that, if you ask me.
Social capital?
There is nothing I need less than social capital.
Oh man, monetizing vanity is like 90% of this gym's business model.
Sadly, Claptrap's not long about that. If you're going to be a gym owner, you better not be a fat, greasy guy, swallowing down a frickin' fat hoagie.
Is that self-doubt I hear? No doubters allowed in my gym.
Not doubt, just certainty. There is no platform.
I mean, he's right about the looks appeal. If you're going to be a gym owner and a gym trainer, you better be damn shredded.
One sec. Let this be a lesson to you, rookie. Never hire a contractor who accepts payment in mangler droppings.
Because I don't want to be trained by some fat guy unless he's actually on recovery from like cancer or something. That's the only thing in my mind that would make that acceptable.
Hassle the developers until they increase my effective grapple rate.
Hey, whoa. That fourth wall is load bearing, friendo. No.
The fourth wall's load bearing. That was actually pretty clever.
Up. Get some. Get some.
Gotta admit that was a good line. That fourth wall is load bearing. That one was clever, I gotta admit.
Ah, not bad.
Weak. Are you drinking enough wheatgrass? Juicing enough raw meat? Hey, yolks. Nice. Your prize is getting to look down in smug superiority on all the people we're more swole than.
But getting back onto the subject of comedy here, folks, we need to actually get back to where comedy is allowed to do whatever it does. I mean, the Boondocks, even though it was black and it was definitely made some people uncomfortable, it definitely had its moments.
Final climb's gonna put it all to the test. How are those sinews feeling? You ready for some spin grapples?
Only if the spin grapples are equally
And
ready for me.
now, am I saying shows in the similar vein of the Boondocks should be just perpetually allowed? I'm saying it needs to have, we need to have a certain amount of moderation. That's the correct word I'm looking for here. Moderation is what we're looking for. because you can't just constantly use stereotypes. I mean, that's what happened to the Cleveland show, was that they basically made it Family Guy, but made it Black Family Guy. And, you know, it wasn't a terrible show. But it definitely needed some better writing. I mean, they still basically made Cleveland semi-cuckish because of his relationship with Loretta and Donna. I mean, Donna still technically, in a really sad way, Donna was still really in love with her ex-husband.
Feels like I am on a roll.
So in terms of things, you know, it's not that the show was horrendous, horrible, or bad. It's just, it needed better writing. Now, am I saying that Seth MacFarlane's a bad writer? No. I'm saying there needed to be a different writer for it, because that's the reason why the show ultimately failed. And it, you know, from my perspective, the show had a lot of really good potential, but it, it just overdid things. So, you know, it's not just that it was also, it needed better writing than, you know, Cleveland Brown goes back to his southern hometown, and, you know, he has friends with everybody, and, you know, you got the bear instead of the dog and all that jazz. So we do have to remember that, you know, it was basically Family Guy, but, you know, black Family Guy, and that's part of the reason why the show failed. And and to be clear here, I don't, I didn't hate the show at all. Period. I personally always thought it needed a better writer. Because Seth MacFarlane can write, he can write jokes, he can do comedy, but it needed better writing from the get-go, in my opinion. Because having Donna, no, what was it? Yeah, yeah, and Cleveland also getting the leftovers from his high school crush, you know, after everything with his first wife. You know, in my opinion, I know it's supposed to be comedy, but I still think Cleveland Brown deserved better than the story that the Cleveland show gave him.
Really?
But, you know, that's just my opinion here. But, you know, again, you know, we're talking about shows that entertain here. And I mean, you know, and you know, when you think about it, why do The Simpsons has been on the television for the longest, and why has it succeeded? You know, aside from the theories that the writers are from the future, and the fact that the Simpsons have predicted many, many different things, which is true and interesting at the same time.
It's free to look. For now.
But we also have to remember here that...
I mean, you know, that'll keep the bodies at bay. You driver. Just leave the money on the dresser.
Ow. Oh, my neck popped. But the thing we have to remember here is the Simpsons was a bit more... what was it?
If you seek inner wisdom, nothing.
They started out as kind of, you know, mildly rude comedy. And then they proceeded to go to way more crazy stuff. So you have to remember, excuse me, offensive stuff.
Seems like you could use some guidance.
So you have to remember, as time has progressed, the show's sense of humor has actually adapted to modern comedy standards, if you will, here. So you have to remember that.
Take this aura diffracting ego prism. It's a mood rock.
Of course.
So with that in mind here,
You were saying.
we have to remember comedy was what some people find funny. Because there are some, because there's the whole like rude children's comedy thing where kids laugh at the fart jokes and all that stuff, or laughing when somebody belches or embarrasses themselves. So, you know, you've got that little kid comedy there.
Venture forth to the path of opportunity. Gunning for good.
And you know, and you also have to remember that other people's senses of humor are different too, because you've got people who like certain forms of classical comedy, like mimes and clowns and stuff. You know, I don't hold any. You know, I can chuckle at a clown's antics, or I can chuckle at a mime's antics, but is that really my cup of tea? No. But these people are meant to be funny. They're meant to promote energy and good, you know, positive energy, if you will, here.
I used to call this the path of challenges, but I changed the name. Know why? Because a challenge is really just an opportunity in disguise.
And who is the...
You always catch more with
I know that voice actor's voice. I cannot place it, though. I can't.
Great question. I opportunity you to answer it for yourself.
There are enough bullets for all of you, okay? I am here at the path of no challenges. What is it?
Now the real work begins. Your first challenge unity is a test.
So you have to, so you know, we have all of these different forms of comedy, or you've got, you know, how people, but you know, the thing that's never going to stop is how people embarrass themselves and how people just laugh at that. That's something that's never going to die. I mean, even in the 2000s, even though I think it's tasteless, you know, what was the running joke in almost everything out there? It was the comedy of the guy getting hit in the nads almost every episode of a lot of shows on Comedy Central. I mean, Scrubs did it, and what else? I mean, Comedy Central even made that cartoon comedy parody called Little Bush while George Bush was president of the United States. And after he left office, the show, they just canceled the show because it was to sit there and just make fun of a sitting president.
Let it guide you to a place of peace and destruction. Hold these two truths within.
And, well, I would say I would bring up Mind of Mencia, but Carlos Mencia's destruction was his own doing. I mean, especially after everything that happened with Joe Rogan. So, Mencia's fall was his own doing.
Are they in front of you? Behind you? Or hiding somewhere deeper?
So... So, sadly, Mencia's doing was his own. Sadly, what happened to Carlos Mencia was his own doing. I mean, if you want to take a really good example, look at Gabriel Iglesias here, for example. You know, I love a good Fluffy show, and you know, Fluffy's still funny, even though he's had a rough couple of years. Fluffy's still universally funny. So, you know, and then, you know, we can also talk about Jeff Dunham and the puppets. I mean, Peanut, let's see, I mean, who's some of the most funniest outside of Walter? I mean, I think Peanut is considered his best. I don't know. I think Peanut is considered, let's see, outside of Ahmed, Peanut is considered one of his funniest puppets, one of his funniest bits with his puppet. And if anyone wants to ask, yes, I have been to both. I've seen Fluffy live, and I have seen Jeff Dunham live too. And I laughed in both shows. So, take that for what you will here, folks. But I enjoy comedy, but my thing is comedy has to be allowed to be... It has to be allowed to be funny. You can't just sit there and control what is and isn't funny.
How do you feel?
I am an old hat at the fake guru routine, so forgive me if I seem bored.
Exactly. You see, you can't resolve your internal conflict through thoughtless external violence. This is good stuff. Next, we'll bring your aspirational and devotional selves into equilibrium.
Whoever this voice actor is, I know his voice from somewhere. I just cannot place it, and it's driving me crazy.
I used to think I needed to tear people to pieces to get to their core. But it's the opposite. Most people are in pieces already.
But
Like a puzzle, one must put them together to discover their deepest truth.
you know, it's like I said. Reach the stones of balance. It's like I said, you have to allow comedy to be funny. You can't just be like, okay, this is funny now. This boring, bland academic thing. Because I've seen some woke comedians and their stuff isn't funny. Now, am I talking about comedians who have shredded their own careers, or their family has shredded their own careers? I mean, I don't want to talk. Well, I guess it's fair for me to bring this up since I did say this.
I see. If I get my sheet together, There will be no limit
But
to what I can achieve.
the situation with Akash Singh and Jasleen Singh,
Am I
you know,
agreeing
she
with
basically, to a degree, ruined his career.
Are your shit.
I mean, Akash was well, he had success on on a podcast. I don't remember the podcast name out now that I think about it. But, you know, Akash had success on... But Akash had success on the podcast. And then she started her main character podcast. And then she started talking about a lot of different things that if you were a guy who actually had any sort of backbone, you know, you would have
to tell his rock wife and rock kids? And I'm sorry, I really like rocks.
so, you know, basically the way she acted and the way she treated him, it basically nuked his career to a degree.
Growth isn't always obvious. Like the seed of a mighty tree, your personal breakthrough is germinating. We're close to something. My final challenge will bring it all together. Pick up your ego prism and head to the Den of Acceptance. So, for this final step, I thought we could try a little role play, but we'll need some assistance.
I'm gonna tear you up from hell to breakfast.
Ricky Rolls. What is this supposed to be, a Rickroll parody?
role-playing? Wait,
But
what kind of
Jasleen basically made him look incredibly...
Inner demons, giving
What is the word I'm looking for here?
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, she made him look completely pathetic.
What? You think you're invincible just because you don't got blood and guts? Think again, asshole. You're just as vulnerable as
And, you know, it's not... And, you know, was this intentional?
At arm's length with favors and keep... Oh! Hey, what gives?
good. Yes.
So, you know, do I think Jasleen wanted to destroy his career or do something like that? Probably not. But she was expressing herself
Comes from where we
in either
least
a outrageous way,
for example,
just to make herself appear better,
getting it, but oh no, looks like that inner negativity is about to externalize.
Oh, you are freaking done for, bucko!
so, you know, can we say for 100% certainty what she was trying to do? No, we can't, because none of us are Jasleen or Akash. But considering how she acted, and then considering how he portrayed himself when he was there, and how she also treated him there, and you know, she even sat there talking about how she wanted to have a threesome with her friend and her husband. And you know, Akash is literally sitting right there next to his friend as this is happening, being embarrassed and basically being ripped on. You know, if this was Jasleen's idea of a joke, I mean, if she was trying to do humiliation and the other kinds of comedy, well, I'll give her a gold star for effort, because holy cow, did she do a really good job at ripping her husband apart. But the problem is the amount of damage that it did to Akash's career.
Do you hear that?
And
Your
also
sensorium
report, and there was also
Your
people
values
saying
matrix
that,
untangled.
you
And
know,
look, put the ego
what was it,
prism
like
there
3
so
months
you
after
can see the
everything
change.
happened, Akash was seen at a
No,
comedy
not like
show.
that. Quick,
Well, no, he was
turn
at a
around.
comedy.
The other
He was
way.
on at a comedy tour, and he sat there and started talking about,
I just lack the ability to see it.
You see,
and he was talking
you
about
believed in yourself.
things,
You did the
and
work,
he
and now
started
nothing can defeat you. As long as you
talking about,
manifest
and he started
true
bringing
self-love.
up things with
You are
Jasleen,
no charlatan.
and
You are a saint.
you know,
Thank you for all of your sagacity.
and you know, he
Don't
was
thank
just
me yet.
venting,
There's
but
a
you know,
few
the
more
problem
tools to ease
was
your journey
was
in
he
that
still
chest.
lost. He lost hard.
Now, I have one more gift for you. I know the other stuff was kind of woo-woo, but this is serious. It's the single most
So
transformative piece of
Akash,
wisdom I
so
can
you know,
possibly
Akash was
impart.
sitting there saying
You
other
must
things. I mean, not to mention
always
the
remember
fact that,
that
you know, some of the stuff she said is going to live on the internet forever.
Quit your shooting!
Whew, that was too close. That Ripper was right upon you. I saved you just in time. Whew.
I want
You here for the life coach too? Where are they? I have an appointment.
Your appointment is with that corpse. I had a spirit board if you have the coin.
he has a
Oh,
spirit board if you had the
I
coin.
see.
Wow,
You're saying I
okay.
can learn as much from the dead Ripper as I could from any teacher. That we're all just students of the world. You must be the life coach. I have so much to learn from you. I'm ready to begin. Oh, wise guru sense.
Specialization up.
Help me figure out my shit.
I can't even start with this guy.
I'm ready to begin my
All right,
journey
let's
to
do this.
enlightenment.
But, you
Oh,
know,
wise life coach,
Jasleen
many miles and
nearly
countless bad vibes have I
came
endured
very
reach
close
you.
to nuking
So,
Akash's career.
can you help me out?
Oh, I will help you all right. I am the best guru this side of the timekeeper's left cheek.
Oh, thank the maker. I was this close to trying therapy.
So,
how do
you
I
know,
attain enlightenment? Hot yoga,
so, you know,
bullet
am I gonna
journaling,
sit here and
juice
say
cleanse?
that Akash got
Those
what he
are all
deserved
scams,
for
Not
for
really.
marrying her?
You
Well, I
are
mean,
looking at the real deal.
if
We will start.
that's how she presented herself, he should, you know, I'm not going to get into their relationship
That's
dynamics,
moving.
but, you know, it still begs the question.
What do I do now, oh
I mean,
wise one?
seriously,
Rise.
this is a woman who went on her main character podcast and
get up there.
literally
What kind of
said that
attitude
it
is
was
that?
okay for her husband
Get it together.
to
No,
get
I
a handy
don't
from
think
a
I have the
massage
upper body strength
person.
to move those or to climb even.
I should have known. Here is the real plan. I will balance
So, you know, this is not, you know, from my
this. It
perspective,
is not.
you know, this is from a divorced man here.
What?
You know, that is not a healthy
You want to
relationship.
try your
Hold
way?
on a sec, folks, before I
Cry
continue that
in the
next
morning?
thought.
Fine. I'll do it. See? Easy. Now what? Are you even really a life coach?
Hey, but as I was saying, you know, she nearly wrecked his career and her cushy lifestyle. Because apparently Akash has a lot of family money back in India.
Of my power.
Hey, what the?
Yes, my student. Be one with the can, and then you can.
So,
have even more.
you know, and I'm not gonna go into the things that Jasleen said, but you know, you'd get the impression that, you know, the way that she viewed him was not healthy, to say the least.
How does your soul feel?
And you know and you know,
The head hurts and I'm super nervous.
And
One
it-
wrong move and I'll spill garbage everywhere.
Of course. When you hang on to your baggage, your trash, you will always be afraid of movement. You must let go or something.
Wow. Oh, you're good. So you're saying I should be recycling
so
more.
you know, as a society in the West, we cannot let comedy die because somebody gets offended.
Now
I mean, considering what some of these woke people allow,
in trusting your instincts. And
I don't think we should allow them to
Those
control
cracks don't stand a chance.
comedy.
I'll bet my lower root chakra on it.
Lower root chakra. Dude, your chakras aren't even in
I had
balance.
forgotten how much I like this old hustle. Thank Guru. How I have missed you.
I gotta admit, at least the robot conman makes this is better than how the Exo Soldier handled this. Because on the character I first played this game on, he was pissed off about this guy. Ripsaw.
Your rig is falling apart. Please finish this job.
Nope. Grenades. A boom, 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 boom. A bang, 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 bang. Bye, Felicia. So just for, you know, everyone's sake of comedy here, you know, we need to stand up for things that we actually find funny instead of letting others tell us what is and isn't funny, folks. And you know, I'm not saying this to be a hater, as some would accuse me of. I'm saying this as pragmatic principle. If we want to have something funny to laugh at, we have to actually stand up for well, that's not the right way to say it. We have to let things be funny. We have to let things remain funny, because otherwise it's going to be taken away from us. I know that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. But, you know, that's the sad truth. I mean, you think about what happened in Germany,
That'll keep the bodies at bay.
and
Sugar. What?
they let the regime dictate what and wasn't funny, and then after everything was said and done, were the people there laughing? Nope, they weren't. And they even controlled the music to where the only thing that was really allowed to be played was basically I guess you could call it a form of ballroom music, I guess. But even then, it wasn't. But you know, again, when you let a government or a specific group of people control certain things, you know, you're still setting yourself up to be controlled. So, you know, we can't let these people dictate, you know, what comedy is for us. Because the day we let that happen is the day we say, okay, you can tell us what to do. You are our masters. You know, I mean, you could even sit there and just crack the whip too while you're at it if you really want to. Let's see, do I actually have that sound effect here? Yeah, right there. And you're just gonna sit there and crack this at you. Oh, this isn't funny to you? Give it to you again just to make sure you go. So, you know, take that with what you will here, folks.
These cracks are really harshing my vibes!
Hello? Where is the fighting? The lower root chakra betting, the instincts and acceptance.
I super accept that cracks are scary as hell! I just gotta remember, suffering is all in the mind. Ow! Damn it! Happy place. Going to my happy place.
Rolling for crates.
Whew! You saved me. I guess we're even, huh?
So, just remember that, folks, that if you want your comedy the way you like it, whether you like it dark, airy, fluffy, whatever, dark chocolate, you know, whatever version of comedy you like.
Not getting attacked by Cratch. I see that time is an illusion. Your time? My time? What does it even mean? I'm on the cusp of some revelatory.
You have to remember that you have to at least keep it up. And Master Yoda agrees.
Let us see some action.
Just one more sec. Okay. Maybe that cave is a microcosm of my own mind. Impenetrably vast and dark and filled with flying vermin. That doesn't sound right. Hang on.
High-powered fun.
Oh, I've got it. Cratch are a somatic reflection of the transformational potential of my intuitively unconditional authenticity. Or something. Ah, it's so close.
The thing that's crazy about this whole thing is that this guy's doing half the work himself. They're not even saying anything. They're just dealing with the crash.
Nancy speaks.
God, I love the effects of a good scattergun.
Give up. I can't climb or fight or achieve asteroid sights. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this.
The heck was that? Make something up. Wow.
Oh, you are so close, my child. By, removing expectations, you will finally be able to move without fear of the garbage. Because expectations, guilt, and shame are garbage, no?
Not exactly. Guilt
feel,
in the right
know,
context
content
means
almost?
you actually
For a
are
moment back
human
there, I
and you
really
feel
thought I was
bad
gonna
for the
die.
things that you've done that
And I
are
wasn't
wrong.
even scared. I was grateful for all the special
Now,
little moments I've been
shame
lucky enough to
used in the right
experience.
context
Now that
can
we can move
get
past
you
the
to be
expectations,
healthier
it is time
or
to
change a
build
behavior.
awareness. Your last test
But
will not be easy,
there are too
but
many
I
people
believe
who
you are
use
ready.
shame as a control
One day live
mechanism in
again and
abusive
become aware
relationships.
of how much more insane you could be.
Kill a whole Ripper camp? I mean, I'll try.
Look, if you want, I mean, I would advise against that. Just once. Maybe murder can be later in the ascension process. I would check on you in a bit.
Got it. I'll watch the crap out of them.
I wouldn't. You know, as someone who doesn't really aspire to self-help, but still, rage therapy is rage therapy, but this guy doesn't need rage therapy.
These settlement points round here.
He needs to grow a brain. He needs to grow about 3 brain cells that are fighting for second place. And that's me being kind.
More half-baked assassination plot. I'll get
And
the
no,
next
I'm
one
not
free.
gonna say they're fighting for 3rd place, because he's already clearly in 5th place.
Just hope your grip's as strong as your jaw.
So with that in mind here, folks, you know, I'm not a big fan of self-help, but still, the way they've got this whole self-journey thing going on here, it's, what is the word I'm looking for here? I mean, the Ripper who suddenly became wise was one heck of a joke, but still, come on. Think about that one for a minute. This guy is just, it doesn't, this, the way that you're trying to motivate this guy to do better or be better just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't get it. What am I watching these guys for? Am I getting any closer to enlightenment here? Or just getting eye strain? So, do I just watch these guys forever? Not really seeing the point
Oh,
here.
I forgot to do
It
my
is
pinned
time
comment.
to assess your
Whoops.
vibrations, my pupil. Your aura must be perfect. Close your eyes and let me find a self-improvement.
Oh, do I have... Let me do my pinned comment real quick here, folks. Go use the bathroom or something real quick. Darn it. And in case anyone's forgotten, this is a live Q&A stream, so please feel free to go ahead and ask me some questions. I cover every topic, but if you want me to cover specific ones, you have to phrase them in the right way.
Big five.
Ugh! Freaking ow! What the piss, man? Whatever it was before, my vibe is ticked off now!
Anger is part of life, my child. You must be aware of unpleasant things in order to conquer them. I will help you with this. The only way I know how. Role play.
Ugh. Ow! Fine, I guess. Can't be worse than the Rock.
Give me a moment to get into character. My ex-girlfriend could not fix me because I am fundamentally broken. Ooh, nailed it. Here we go. No amount of self-improvement will fix the relationship you have with others. If you have a problem with everyone you meet, the common denominator is you, my friend. So shut up and unpack some of your crap instead of writing self-pitying poetry, eating crystals, and rejoicing in mediocrity.
Ow!
Wow.
My soul! I think I preferred when you hit me with the Rock!
Swallow that, codswallop! How dare you douse their dangling dog! All loves are lavished in lurid detail!
What?
Hey, yeah, you're right. I do have value. And I am beautiful in my own unique way. Wait, did I just agree with the Ripper?
Yes, my pupil. I have unearthed your true self through balance.
Oh,
awareness,
jeez.
And most importantly, gaslighting.
Jeez.
You are a new soul now. And apparently, the new you likes rippers. Not my personal choice, but...
Oh, now I understand. Wait, I feel it. The effortlessness of the unencumbered soul. The tranquility of the silent truth. Enlightenment! Take from me these material burdens. I need them no longer.
Okay. Alright. How do I... Is that...
You
Are those
have
pickles?
ascended, friend. Your guru must move on.
Yes, I have a new appreciation for all people, especially rippers. All that's left is to rip my bolts and live a life of mindless, meaningless violence. It's all
What?
up to you. Come, Ripper friend, free me from my mind.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is happening. Oh, that just happened.
I could have bled him for so much more.
You mean scammed him. You mean scam him. You know... well, this robot in particular means to scam him, not help him, but still. And some people wonder why I am very skeptical of anything self-help, any sort of self-help guru outside of an actual licensed therapist. And even then, some of those you have to be careful with. Hey, boy. Oy vey, huh? Oy vey, folks. Now, seeing as that I've covered comedy, we'll move on to the next subject. And that's, we're going, you know, for those of you who, who can't understand how government corruption works or believes it can't work, I would advise you reevaluate how that particular view of reality, but it doesn't mean it is not real. Now I'm going to talk about how government corruption works in the current system in a manner of speaking. Now, I know that there will be those who sit there and say, you know, government corruption is a thing unless it's like police, because police officers can be corrupt, only Republicans can be corrupt, or Democrats can be corrupt. I know everyone's going to sit there and be like, only this group, or that people, or people who subscribe to this group, or this philosophy. Let's me be very blatantly clear here. It doesn't matter which political persuasion you belong to. There's always going to be corruption in government. Heck, even in monarchies, corruption could be worse because you have to convince the king that some of his most trusted people are corrupted, or certain families are corrupted. I mean, if you want to be technical, that's how Anne Boleyn got executed, in a manner of speaking, because Henry was led to believe that Anne Boleyn had done a bunch of stuff that she probably didn't do. We can't say for certain if she did or didn't do, but still. Oh, I didn't click over. Oh, yeah, I did. Did it or did it not? There we go, track mission. There we go. Alright. Let's clear up that other Rift champion. And then we'll head to deal with Lecter. The Madman Matisse. Oh, that thing. I remember this thing.
Nancy speaks.
Now, for those of you who are saying that government corruption, it doesn't work that well unless you're counting the donors, the donor class, who get what they want, you're partially correct. You're not 100% correct. You're partially correct. Now, why do I say you are partially correct? Because, yes, the donor class has the money to drop into super packs, which... Ooh, legendary weapon. What'd I get? Okay, now as I was saying, yes, the donor class does donate to certain things, and they're able to use that to get certain things. Now, as long as they do it through the right channels, they're not gonna get in trouble. I mean, if you don't believe me, go watch Clinton Cash if it's still on, YouTube. If Clinton Cash is still on YouTube, which it may not be, Bill Clinton was being paid to go do all these speaking engagements years ago, yet at the same time, and mind you, a lot of these speaking engagements happened while Billy Boy, well, not Billy Boy, but how how his wife was Secretary of State, and the Uranium One scandal happened. Yeah. I mean, just talking about that reminds me of the joke that Trey Stone and Matt Parker did in the episode where Strong Woman and PC Principal have a bunch of PC babies, and they're literally in the grocery store, and the little old lady walks up and comes and says, "Oh, these are such cute babies. Oh my, they're very PC." And she's like, "No, they're not." So this guy walks up and literally cracks this joke. If YouTube has a problem with this joke, then they should pull the clip from YouTube itself, because the clip is still up. Because the guy walks up to the kids and they're like, "Oh, are you sure they're not PC babies? Did you?" And then they lean down and say, then the guy leans down and cracks this joke. "Did you hear that Monica Lewinsky's becoming a Republican now? Apparently the Democrats left a bad taste in her mouth." That's literally the joke verbatim. And, you know, I gotta get, you know, I could sit here and applaud Trey Stone and Matt Parker.
Found another supply capsule. You ever pretend like you're actually carrying me to the decrypt station?
Because it takes a lot of gall to do that.
Just kidding. Or am I?
So, you know, I'll give Trey Stone and Matt Parker, you know, their props for actually at least you know, thinking of that joke, and not only just thinking of that joke, but actually saying it out loud. Because it takes some real stones to actually say that stuff, considering how a lot of how the critics of the Clintons just seem to magically disappear. So I got to give them props for that. I mean, even who was it? Yeah, that's right. It was Andrew Tate, even one of the Tate brothers, who came out and was talking about the Clintons a little bit. You know, when he was talking about it, you know, the first thing he said is, "I'm not gonna end myself." You know, as a way of saying, "Hey, if something happens to me and it's determined that I ended myself, hey, I didn't end myself."
Making the most out of this thing.
Let's find some new, interesting
That's
ways
literally
to murder our
what he
enemies
was
today.
saying. So there is still paranoia that the Clintons do terrible things to their political rivals and to the people who have stuff to say about them. Now, whether it's true or not they actually do it is anybody's guess. But considering, who was it? I think it was Anthony Bourdain who said something about the Clintons, and he ended up passing away of something a few weeks later. You know, it just goes to show that there are a lot of people who are paranoid about that kind of stuff. Now, to be fair, do I honestly think that the Clintons were involved? I mean, I can't really say for 100% certainty, because there's just... What's the best way to phrase this? That politicians don't like their stuff dragged into the public, as it were.
That'll keep it. That's your one. So you just, if you got any more, just that'll you drive. If you got any,
I mean, there's a reason why there's whistleblower protections for corporate and political things, because it's well known that politicians will retaliate, and others will retaliate against others for outing stuff like that. Alright, folks, I need to use the bathroom real quick, so I'm gonna mute the mic and just let this load.
Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty.
Hyros hasn't been the same since you showed up.
Not a fan of these new augments. What happened to good old-fashioned rust?
Sorry that took so long, folks, but my knee was hurting, so I had to rest. So I had to stand there for a couple minutes till the pain went away. One thing that sucks about getting old is there's pain, and then there's also, of course, when you're a military veteran, whether you've seen service or not, something always inevitably ends up getting wrecked. But yeah, pain sucks a lot. So is that shield better than the shield I have right now? Not impressed with what I got. Oh well.
Good doing business with you. The smell of this thing. Where were you? Hope your grip's as strong as your jaw.
But Now, getting off the subject of politicians, let's actually go back to your government 101 class here for a minute, where they talk about the separation of powers. Where hold on a sec, folks. Yes, I'm assuming you're talking about some of the enemies. Yeah, they're not pretty. I'm fairly certain of that myself. So I thank you for sharing, I suppose. I want to do the Rift Champion. No. Better carry on with the story. But now, if you remember from your government 101 here that they would have taught you, and at least in junior high, if you had been in the United States, you know, they teach you, you know, about the separation of powers between the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And, you know, for those of you who want a quick summary of what each of these are, the executive branch is the president, law enforcement, and military, basically. The legislative branch are the, is the House and the Senate, and the stuff that goes into making that work. Well, not the stuff, the people who go into making that work, like couriers and other stuff, basically.
The substation teems with Lecter's rattlers. I will send you some assistance shortly. You can thank your brusque siren friend for lending several hands.
And then the judicial branches are the judges and the like. So, I mean, if you want to be, I mean, so to anyone who's been arrested,
Diagnosis? You got a bad case of dangerous. I can help with that. Remember,
you know, just as an example here, you know, let's give the example, you know, you get arrested, you know, you don't necessarily, and you get bailed out of jail, and you end up in a courtroom. A judge is part of the judicial branch, while the police officer is part of the executive branch, and they work together in this regard. And that's also part of the reason why police officers have more credit in a courtroom than your average Joe, because they're a government personnel who's not supposed to lie on the stand or do other things that are illegal, but they still do it. Just as a quick example here. Now, there are going to be a few... Now, people are asking me, okay, Ghost, how is it... that with the separation of powers, there's corruption?
I will make this quick.
Well, first things first, we have to understand how the separations of powers work. Because the way the separations of powers is supposed to work is that, as a quick example here, the legislator, you know, the House and Senate, are supposed to pass laws and bills, and there's two ways to challenge these things. First, a president, or governor, if you will here, can veto a bill that could become a law if the governor doesn't like it, or thinks it needs to be redone, or the governor is just like, you know what, no, I don't like, you know, this thing is not something I want to sign. It's not anything my constituents signs, and heck, even the governor themselves or the president may not like it.
I will enjoy turning you into junk.
So there is that element of things here.
I am at it now, but what I assume is
And you know, both legislative branch and the president can go to the judicial branch, which interprets which is supposed to interpret and enforce these laws. And a law can be written one way, but a judge can interpret another way as it goes. Now, is that what is supposed to happen? Yes and no. I mean, part of the reason why so many laws nowadays are so ambiguously written, it's to give judges interpretation for certain things. Now, do I honestly think that that is correct? No, I think laws should be written and codified and should be read as written and not give gray room to those who would abuse that process, to be frankly honest with everybody here. And then also most things passed by Congress shouldn't be this 200, 300, 400, 500 page thing that has the budget and a bunch of other laws in it too. I don't think that should fly. I think at most it should be 2 pages with maybe a 3rd or 4th page for definitions if necessary.
Allow me to help define Calder. For Arden, the Tech Clave stands with you all today. Well done, Stalin. Vault Hunter, help is inbound. Meet me at these coordinates. Now, make room!
You know how to make a dramatic entry.
I've been blasting mine shafts out of the rock for 7 decades. Lecter's wall can't hold me back. Wellspring, meet my old friend Bruce.
The pleasure is mine. We will work well.
I must retreat to reinvigorate. Shafts are set.
Now, now those who are saying, well, okay, how is this system how can this system be corrupted? I mean, sure, if the branches are constantly fighting with each other, you know, and nothing's gonna get done, sure, but isn't this supposed to prevent corruption? Well, it prevents corruption from outside the system to a degree, but it doesn't stop corruption from the inside of the system. Now, what do I mean by that? It's fairly simple. Well, I mean, simple for me, maybe not for others.
He's loaded with an Ordinite-based weapon system. Should blast right through those phase barriers.
An Ordinite-based weapon system is all I have ever wanted, Bruce.
Onward to that energy source.
Sure.
Is loose.
You will be cleaning that up.
I have a gear to pick with you lot. A strong breeze can break you. Let us see friend. I have another thing for you.
I'm on it.
Now, as I was saying about corruption from within, how the legislators are responsible for the budget, which means they're responsible for the pay of not just their pay, their salaries, they're also responsible for the salary of the judges, the salary of all law enforcement officers. And if you want to be technical, the federal budget also pays the federal military. You know, the United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and the Coast Guard, and Space Force. So that's federal Congress, you know, the House and the Senate, and each state has their own State House and Senate, blah 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 blah. So let's just say, for example, here for a minute.
Well, I think I found the source of the energy spike.
Indeed, that device is clearly generating Lecter's phase portals, but he is secured it with limiters. If we whip them to shreds, the portal will surely open.
I am completely confident, but not out of that.
I have a plan. Bring trust in Bruce.
Yes, trust in the Bruce. Yes, the thing with the wriggling tail. Let us trust in the thing with the wriggling tail.
Destroy the limiters.
So, be that as it may, seeing as that the legislative branch controls salaries here and there and this and that, let us consider this for a minute. If, let's say that the judges want a standard of living raise, if you will, here. Because judges are elected officials, their salary is decided by the legislator. So how does the legislator do this sort of thing? So the legislator looks at the proposed budget and they just kind of divvy out they divvy out the money this way, that way, and everything.
I knew you before you were vile. You don't scare me, Lecter.
Not yet, perhaps, but I will.
Yes, elemental eaters only eat the elements of what they're attuned to. Lucky for me, bad for them. What in the hell? Not me. Oh. There we go.
I am too good to fold.
Yeah, in this game, if you don't have people you're playing with, you get good on getting the second wind revives by taking out enemies. You get good at doing that.
It is nearly done. Destroy the final limiter.
The rift machine is voicing its dissatisfaction.
It's destabilizing. Quickly, huddle close to
Well,
Bruce.
where's the
He will
final
shield you
limiter?
from the blast.
So where's Bruce? Oh, he's right there.
I say this with all intended alarm. Total vaporization is imminent.
Curse it all, the rift is too volatile. Get out of there before it...
Too late. I just got blasted off to somewhere.
Nancy, have you welcomed me home?
Hunter, whatever you did, it opened stage rifts all over the mountains. Hermes and I took one into Lecter's fortress. Keep moving. Follow the rifts.
See, if memory serves, max level is 50. I know what I'm spending those last 10 points on, so not worried about that.
There's one. Use your grapple device to open it.
Yeah, give me a minute. I got creeps all over me.
Here is what you want.
Oh, they just keep beating me in. Let's get the heck out. Let's blow this taco stand thing.
Use your grapple device to open it.
Or a knife.
Vault Hunter. I see more clearly now.
Blow it.
Yes? Is that you?
I don't... Do I know you yet?
Amara is looking for you. Where are you now?
Amara. Isn't she?
Hello? Should have watched your eyes. Just what I was looking for.
Darn it, I just wasted my action skill. Alright, sorry about that, folks. I had to deal with something. But anyway, as I was saying, how is there, as a start, let's say, for example, judicial branch wants a pay raise. You know, the judges want a pay raise. You know, and, you know, should judges be paid more for some of the stuff they deal with? Like, you know, who wants to be the judge on a capital murder trial case where, you know, the judge has to sit there and ask the jury, do you recommend the death sentence for this person? Do you want to be the judge that does that? There are even cases where judges, even they have doubts about, or let's say it's a very politically charged case, like let's say the trial for the police officers in the George Floyd case. Do you want to be... What the heck? What's going on here for a second? What's going on with this stream? Hold on a second, folks. I think there are some text. What is going on here? It's almost like the stream is restarting. Doesn't look like there's anything off with the connection. I don't see any hardware issues. Going on here, but okay. Did the stream just go down? What in the heck is going on?
At last, Lecter Sanctum.
But anyway, as I was saying, folks.
You're guns hungry then, Vault Hunter. It's free to look. For now. That'll keep the body. Not sure what I'll do with it. You drive a hard bargain.
Oh, that has a damage reduction.
Just stretch the cereal. If you got any more like this, you know, wait. That sucker. Oh, whoa. If you got any more like this,
Okay.
fly over here. What?
Before I carry on here, let's compare my things here. Well, in terms of everything here, I lose a chunk. Actually, I lose a 40% damage buff. And part of the reason why I keep this thing is the damage buff. But it's not really worth the change. Which is sad, because I really need a better one.
Gonda, I am at Lecter's front door. He has locked it down with more phase bends.
Never fear, Wellspring. The mountain brims with fortune today. Bruce met an unfortunate end right near you. But even in death, he is not finished eating us. Retrieve his control core, and quickly.
Rid of the chain. Wow, one chain master gone. Replaced with another.
It was an honor, Bruce. Amara, in the cave, I heard the voice again. She sounded confused.
After what Lecter's done to her, I'm not surprised. We'll get Lilith out. Just find your way inside to Hermes and me.
Now, Bruce's core contains the concentrated ordinite that demolished those phase barriers before. Take it to the engineering bay, and I can repurpose it for you.
Watch this flash! Rolling for creeps.
Now then, insert Bruce's core into the console there, and we'll be busting barriers in no time.
No frame rate drop, but what keeps happening?
Uploading schematics and... yes, those infernal synth spawning devices will now provide you with an ordinite surprise for his pesky shields, courtesy of Bruce. There, give it a try. The Bruce bomb is quite potent, Wellspring. Toss it at that phase barrier and put it to rights.
Every time there, it seems like the stream gets interrupted. Something weird happens. Doesn't make any sense, but... Problem is I don't see where those tech issues are coming from. Maybe I need to shut down the stream, I'm not sure.
Phased out, you might say. Hurry ahead. I'll route more Bruce bombs to the matter relocators by the sanctum door.
What in the heck just happened? I just lost the whole stream. Okay, folks, I'm having some technical issues. I'm gonna go see if I can figure. I'm gonna see if I can figure out what the source is. If not, I may cut the stream early because I can't keep having these technical issues. Because I'm not sure what the heck is going on here. Alright, give me a few minutes. I apologize for this happening. Okay, it doesn't look like there's a hardware issue. At least not from what I'm seeing. I don't see anything here on my Streamlabs that is giving me concern. Okay, well, I guess I can. I guess I feel that means I can add something to that. I'm not adding overlays right now. No. Don't see anything that's maybe YouTube. Yeah. No, it's getting everything. This is fairly strange. Maybe I need a new Ethernet cord then. This one is older. Alright, let's get back to it, folks. Because it seems like whatever was going on is stopped for now. At least I hope, anyway. If it happens again, I'll cut this stream and start doing some troubleshooting, so it doesn't happen next time. But so as I was saying earlier, part of the budget that goes to pay for things like the salary of judges, the salary of the congressional people, and the governor's salary, the lieutenant governor's salary, the mayor's salary, the deputy's salary. You know, all of that is done by which goes for either the local legislative branch as it goes. So where is the? Oh, there it is.
Bruce strikes again. That is the one. Long live Bruce!
Fine work. The way is clear. Now go stick your thumb in Lecter's bulbous eye.
So now we go to, okay, so let's say the judges want an increase in their standard of living, which would be fairly normal. Because there are a lot of people who say, oh, I need more money in my paycheck because, oh my goodness, you know, the cost of living is getting ridiculous. Now, if you want to know what a judge gets, the salary from the government comes from, all you really have to do is look that up in your local area, because my area is going to be different from yours, especially in the United States.
I have one for each of Lecter's crimes against the Augurs. So, a great many. Functionally.
So if you want to know what a local judge gets paid, start looking up your legislative billing pay documents. It'll be buried in there somewhere.
We've got the bastards' goons running scared, but it looks like our rift sent us to the other side of the fortress from you. Meet us on the upper level.
So, if you really want to know what a judge gets paid, you're going to have to, in your area, you're going to have to get that looked up. Now, I can't be 100% certain of other countries, because some countries, judges are elected officials, and others, they're paid to do so. So I can't tell you with 100% certainty about other countries. So that being said here, folks, if judges want a cost of living adjustment in their salaries, let's say, well, who do they have to? Well, who do they go to make that happen? They actually have to ask the legislative branch to increase their pay. Now, sometimes they ask, sometimes they demand. And, you know, how does that work out from time to time?
All else seems infantile. Your guns, your little tricks.
Well, about a month ago, I watched a short format video about how judges in, I don't remember what state it was in to be specific, but they asked for, they demanded what was it, like a 10% or so raise. And the judicial people were like, since when do judges demand a salary increase from us? You know, that doesn't make sense. Well, not make sense, it's more like, you know, we don't give in to a judge's demands in these regards. Or at least we shouldn't anyway, you know. Well, judges' demands. So, now, let's play the, not what if game, what can happen game if you don't give a judge or whomever what they want, not necessarily what they want, but if you don't do what they quote-unquote ask. Well, let's say, for example, you're in a state where they haven't broken any law, where they're trying to change a specific set of laws, you know, maybe marijuana law, maybe alcohol laws, you know, whatever, you know, take your pick. Maybe it could be trust laws, or it could be company laws, you know, whatever. Take your pick here. And the legislative branch uses a rather vague definition of things, and they want to use that to, I don't know, maybe do what Nancy Pelosi did here, folks, where she sat there and used insider knowledge of bills and other things to sit there and
requesting a Bruce bomb delivery.
Gladly. There's a metal relocator nearby.
guess it's fair to say it isn't a teleportation device. Because those the replicated human beings, the replicated machines, aren't exactly alive in a technical sense, I guess. But back on the subject here. When you're talking about budgets and all that jazz, or no, not budgets, I already went over that. But when you're talking about interpretation of laws, there's ways for judges to interpret laws in a neutral manner or a more favorable manner. So let's say let's say judges in a, pick your random state here, asked for a pay, let's say at least a 10 to 15% pay increase. Legislative branch says, sorry, it's not allocated in the budget. Ask next year. So now the judges aren't getting the pay raise they asked for. So it's not this matter transfer. And they may not get it next year. So, and the politicians are hoping for the judges to rule in the way that benefits them. So we ask the question. So we must ask the question here: would a judge side with a bunch of politicians who refuse to give them a pay raise? And every piece of legislation, well, not every new bill that goes across that gets signed, and let's say a couple of these legislators own businesses that benefit, or they get paid out, or they get paid out from people who benefit like this. Hold on a second, folks, please. So, okay. So now, let's say
look at all of this. Lecter's ghastly experiments, his abuses of my people. It was all to power this phase monstrosity. You must destroy it before he tears the Terminus range in half.
Agreed. This ends now. We need to cut the shields around that giant rift engine. You got a way to take out the phase barrier?
So let's say this, and let's say there's a group of dissenters who are against, who are against this bill, but you know, elements of it are useful. So if a judge interprets things one way with how the bill's written, well, one group benefits, and if the judge does it the other way, the other group benefits. So now the question is who is the judge going to side with? Now, if we take into consideration that you had the judge ask, you had judges asking for a quote-unquote standard of living raise, and they don't get it. You know, so let's ask we ask the question: would a judge who's
Now destroy the iridium.
your apotheosis? Sure, pal.
We've got to stop him before he draws more power.
Such one-dimensional thinking, and I have already achieved everything.
One-dimensional. You know, maybe three-dimensional, but not one-dimensional.
I can see right through you.
So now a judge has on their docket a lawsuit about interpretation of a specific set of laws. Now, if the judge, and seeing as that most judges aren't politically blind, they know that you know, this group of politicians is going to benefit from this, while this group of business owners or whomever, or this other group of politicians, doesn't benefit from this. So
Getting smashed is your face.
Yeah, this is only American love. You have broke the tiger's cage.
Oh, she's mad. So now a judge has a choice. They can either interpret the way that the law benefits the people in the legislature, or they can interpret it in the way that benefits the business owners. So, you know, put in plain English, would a judge willingly side with government if the people in government have screwed them over? Well, the answer is probably going to be not. It's probably going to be somewhere in between. But in this scenario, the expected situation is for the judge to side against the legislators, who not only denied them an increase in their pay, but also to do things that would inhibit what their business plans were further. So, you know, that's one aspect here. But, you know, you could also have governors or even mayors here who take kickbacks. I mean, if you want a really good example here, think back to Hurricane Katrina. Because what happened with Hurricane Katrina? Well, if you recall, the governor, you know, you saw the videos of the governor saying that, you know, oh, am I on a, oh, I am on a cutscene.
There is power in the darkness. A strange ocean churns in the shadow cast by reality.
Nice try.
Uh-oh. Oh! That's not good.
Hermes, get her to safety.
Well, that doesn't feel good. A phase blade, huh? Excuse me. But anyway.
That bastard!
Oof, she's angry.
Rest of her. Do not fear. I have this.
So, now, let's rethink Hurricane Katrina here for a minute. You know, we saw on the news that things were not going well. In fact, things were pretty darn bad. But what was the governor doing? The governor just kind of was the governor just sitting there watching as everything just went to holy hell and heck and was just like, oh, this is fine? No. What was going on was that oh, that's not. Let's put that in there for now. But what was going on was that the mayor of New Orleans, yes, the mayor, the person underneath the governor, as you will here.
This world, this mountain, this flesh. I am
Wow.
prisoner no longer. You think your enemy is human, but you face a god.
He's twisted himself into almost like a bulk creature.
God was that the name. Subject must be terminated. Enemy shot! Run! Keep your hands to yourself and cut!
Oh no, he's charging. Great, where do we jump to now?
Die in this void!
Hard pass.
When did you last watch me?
Ooh. Wow.
Every round is a gamble! I will shake this world to its foundation!
So you basically turned yourself into a Hulk monster. Brilliant idea. Almost like Norman Osborn becoming the Green Goblin. But that ended so well. Well, at least in the movie, it didn't work out as it worked out a little bit better in the comic books. See if I can actually finish this guy before my flight.
Got to be quick!
Nope. Darn, almost had it. But now we gotta start from the beginning.
Have you come home this way just to die?
No, not really.
Now you are just floating.
He says the guy who's turned himself into basically a vault creature.
Throw your hands on your life. Few cuts in the right places.
Oh, he knocked me off the platform again. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, I got my second hand. Huzzah. Well, I'm wondering how I got that second hand. Well, I guess I may never know. Escaping what?
Do
Again.
you not want to get close to me?
Oh, don't.
Phase dimension. Am I trapped here?
Oh, are you kidding me? I got the kill, but it
I
didn't
will need that command bolt.
didn't go through. That is ridiculous. Oh, I guess it did. He also dropped a legendary. He dropped a legendary class mod. Alright, I'll take it. I will take that just to see how well it's going to work out. Although my question is, where's the rest of the loot? Oh well. Bit of a buzzkill, but... a dimensional rift.
Is that the moon?
Yep. Who's that?
At least you died screaming.
Are you Lilith?
No, it's not Lilith. I wish it was. Oh,
No, I'm no siren.
RJ.
RJ.
But
Oh no.
I'm dead. Right. That would have been convenient. See? Lecter needed prisoners for his experiments. And even though the timekeeper broke me, I held on. I guess that made me a prime candidate, huh? While you've been out saving the world, I've been cut apart, stretched across dimensions, holes burned through my skull, so that universes of every color could pour themselves in.
Oh, geez, that's
I'm
terrible.
sorry. I did not know.
Oh, no worries. I mean, what's getting tortured in a cross-dimensional mind screw between friends? But Lilith, it's her fault all of this happened. Whatever her plans were for me, I'm free now. And she's still stuck. I'm gonna make sure she stays that way. You shouldn't be out here. You need to go back to reality. And drop the Vault Hunter Act.
And if I do not,
then I stop you.
Something tells me that
I think I am stuck here.
Right! Let me get that. I'd hate to leave a friend behind.
Ow! Just blasts you across the room. That's nice.
Well, got weird. But Lecter's dead. And Amara, that siren, it was not Lilith.
What? Hells, talk about adding insult to injury.
Never fear, Wellspring. The augurs will make your wildcat whole. Come to Belton's Boar. We must celebrate your victory!
Alright. I want to see how this class mod performs, so... Where is the Moxie's battle redoer? Where's that? Where is that? I mean, do I have to jump in here and do it? Okay, I'm confused. Where is the battle redoer? It's normally here with the... Strange, I don't see it. I guess maybe I'll go take on one of the vault monsters, I guess, and see how that goes. 'Cause I don't see it here. But I don't see Moxie's... Let's refight this enemy thing. Oh, well. I don't like that much, but I guess I don't have a lot of choice. Darn it. Let's head to Cairo. Back to Kairos. I guess I'll go to the vault and let's see how this legendary thing works out. Crossfire Burst is replaced with the Beam Spin attack. But also... Oh, wow. Alright, well... Wow, okay, well that partially answered my questions. Nasty too. Alright, let's get back to the bolt then. Oh, the boar. Let's get back to the boar. Alright. When the cutscene goes, I'll go use the restroom real quick. So, yeah, over this way then. Ah, there's Defiant Calder.
Let us make merry.
Bend your ear. Do you hear the mountain?
Yes? I mean, no. Should I?
It's singing, Wellspring. A song of joy. It's a quiet song. Sounds an awful lot like the wind, but still. With Lecter dead and the fabric of reality mostly untorn, the augurs stand ready
Mostly
to join your
untorn.
crimson resistance. The mountain thanks you. And as for our mighty wildcat, we have a special gift for her.
Alright, this is where the cutscene is. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
And so, vile Lecter, who craved freedom from his mortal shell, got his wish. The Vault Hunter made sure of that. But the powers he had meddled with would only get more dangerous for our heroes. RJ, once a friend, survived his encounter with the Timekeeper, only to be made a test subject for vile Lecter's terrifying experiments. He emerged with powers similar to a siren, along with a fractured and tortured mind. With their oppressor dead, the augurs turned to reuniting the claves and returning to their traditions. Because it's not what's lost that holds power, but what you put in its place.
Your soul got venerated.
Greetings, Wellspring. I am sorry to say I'm in a rather gloomy mood.
So Lecter had his own machinations. Always the risk with ambitious underlings. Oh, shame you killed me before I could discipline him myself.
You know, I don't think the
Help me restore
the
them to honor.
Timekeeper has a concept of gratitude towards your enemies for actually doing you a favor before one of your underlings rips reality apart.
Before the augurs can build our future, we must first put our past to rest. Could you retrieve their bolts for me?
Of course. We can make it fun.
Now,
Cheer you up.
back on to the subject. You know, you would.
They must be honored properly. Please, find the fallen miners' bolts within our clave home. Lecter's rattlers still guard the area, so tread carefully.
So now that we understand that, you know, government is more susceptible within, you know, because you can, like I said, you can always have packs that do this, packs that do that. So now the question becomes, well, how does this become corruption? Well, it's simple. Judges who would normally rule under what is constitutional, or rules on the constitutionality, if you will, here, because there have been in the past where judges have ruled that a law isn't constitutional, but only part of it is unconstitutional. So you get half a law, if you will, here.
I knew it! A secret way in.
Oh, this place looks fancy.
No pulse? No problem. I'll patch you up in no time. That'll let me. Shit, you want this back? You just let me know. You and your wallet are welcome anytime.
Oh, I knew you'd find me. It was the keep your head up hint, right? Not too obvious, though, is it? No, it's fine. Sorry to, like, make you go through all that. You never know who might, you know, be listening in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean.
Never a bad idea to take a few precautions. Now, where can I
Now,
find the mask?
so
Okay, so
theoretically,
I really don't have it. I,
so
sent
let's
the guy who
go
brought it in
to
like,
the executive
buy
branch
or
that has to
dead
sign
drop
things
site.
into law,
If you
because
go
we
there,
already
you could
covered judicial.
probably catch him
So
and,
now
get it
let's
to the
say a
boss or
super PAC
Next
pays
time,
for a fund.
just tell
Oh
me
no, we were on New
Downstairs.
Orleans. My bad.
I only talk about issues regarding the boss.
Now,
up
during
here.
Hurricane
Like,
Katrina,
those are the rules.
everyone was
I
like,
can't
George
really-
Bush took forever
those
to
are the rules.
get FEMA to the water, get water to the Superdome or whatever it was called. I think it's been renamed since. But everyone was like, it's the president's fault that federal aid didn't get there in time. But the thing that a lot of people forget is states' rights. Now, that basically means that a state has its own sovereignty unless somebody or some person breaks the law in between by going across state lines. So, you know, drug trafficking here is the fastest example here. You have, let's say you have a drug trafficker in a big rig truck that's driving through 3 different states. So in that regard, you know, if you have a drug runner who's moving between 3 different states, well, here's the problem. Is it each state gets a piece of him, or is it the state that gets caught? Well, sadly, the truth is that the way it's going to work out is that the federal government is going to come in and prosecute. Because moving something like that in between state lines is federal territory.
Very good. Excellent work. listen to you all.
So now people always blame.
Where is that mask?
So now that now what was really going on? Yes, the people in New Orleans were suffering. There were a lot of people who were, and there was a lot of bad things happening. There were people starving. There were people who were really thirsty, and because everybody was in survival mode, you know, they started looting. And you know, there were some publications that did try to tone things down.
A fine seer on that one.
See, so it says that drops around here somewhere. Great. I actually preferred that when you could actually just throw the knives out. They really messed with the knife mechanics in this game, because in the third game you could do different. Looks like the dead drop is either up. Right there.
I found your mask, boss. Try and hold your applause.
Applause, applause, applause.
Hard worker. You find the guy who took it?
Yes, the creeps took a shine to him.
Justice works in mysterious ways, don't it? You done good. Now bring that mask on back and we'll talk brass tacks.
Awesome. Of course, there's no teleporter close enough.
I made a fine impression on the boss. Not that you expected anything less.
Ha! Of course you did, Wellspring. He is slow to trust, but once he does, you swiftly see the burnished side of the ore. When my clave was banished, he gave us what we needed to sustain ourselves independently. If not for him, we surely would have died.
But, you know, everyone's like, it's George W. Bush's fault. And, you know, the thing that's actually said here was that's not the truth at all. The truth was that the mayor of New Orleans, whose job it was to report to the governor, the situation on the ground. He took kickbacks from many different companies and instead of reporting truthfully to the governor of what was going on the ground in New Orleans, instead, while specific companies got to do certain things in the city while people were suffering, and, you know, it was very much a crappy situation. So you had some very very wealthy companies coming in, doing whatever they were doing. Because to this day, it's not very clear what was known. I mean, there was a specific insurance company. I forget which company it was off the top of my head, but they were running around doing a mass claim denial to save money. And then as soon as they got what they wanted out of there, they just bailed. And they actually canceled a lot of their policies. And it was like I believe it was 5 or so years after Hurricane Katrina that lawsuit went to federal court. And it was I believe it was determined that the people, and it was determined that the company had intentionally did this, and I think that LLC went down, but the parent company was still okay. If memory serves, I could be wrong, but after said but you know, the sad truth was that the media blamed the sitting president at the time for what happened in New Orleans, when the truth was that the mayor and a couple of his appointees all took massive kickbacks, and I think even somebody's family got a crap ton of free cellular service.
My favorite returns. You're not so bad either, Vault Hunter. Mind handing over that mask?
I don't remember all the details off the top of my head. I'd have to go double check. But
look at this thing. What a mask, huh? But more importantly, the coordinates inside are the key to a score you're gonna wet your bulletproof drawers over.
I had a feeling there was more to this mask than you were letting on.
Don't get sore about it. I couldn't risk telling you before you proved yourself. Guy like me's gotta be careful about who he trusts.
Speaking of, find a replacement for number 1. He was bad for business.
Yeah, I had a feeling that doofus might not actually be worthy of his title. How convenient. I've recently met someone far more capable and trustworthy, huh? You interested in becoming my new underboss? Vault Hunter?
Underboss?
But I digress. You know, they took a bunch of kickbacks, and while they got their kickbacks, these executive branch governments, this executive branch of leadership, if you will, here, took.
If I never see that collection of arms again, it will be too soon. I am in.
Wonderful.
They took so many kickbacks, and yes, they did. Eventually, the former mayor of New Orleans and others did eventually end up get convicted and everything.
Lecter's bunker is tighter than a leotard on a wild horse. We want to delete the bastard's backups. We need the tools to craft the place. I managed to procure some hard-to-find items from, friend of a friend. Just need you to handle the exchange.
Sounds like I need to keep the law at arm's length.
What are you talking about? It's a simple purchase. Take the money, go to the spot, make the exchange, and bring back the goods. It even clandestine.
Let me have this. I have not fought the law in 3 minutes. I will waste away at this fleet.
Hey, chase your bliss, long as you deliver. Money's over there.
Get the cash, go to the spot, make the exchange.
So, now, were these people eventually prosecuted because their actions basically made a bunch of other people miserable beyond belief? Yes, they did eventually get prosecuted. But the problem was that they sat there and blamed the sitting president, when technically speaking, the sitting president couldn't do anything. I mean, Texas and the other surrounding states had already declared a state of emergency the day after Hurricane Katrina or so, while Louisiana took, like, what was it, 2-3 weeks to do it, if memory serves off the top of my head.
Nemesis of sorts motivated me.
Yeah, I feel that. To protect the herd, you gotta catch the mangler. And it takes a mangler to catch a mangler.
Correct. And without this particular nemesis, I probably wouldn't care about the augers. Honey.
I understand. My guys, pretty good, but they are not leaders. They must take their time, learn, grow wise. Then, maybe they can change things.
Got me there. But too much power is bad for anyone. I've seen it up close.
So, ow. But it was because what happened in New Orleans was so egregious. That, you know, anything happened. I mean, people were in very poor shape when FEMA finally got to the Superdome. You know, it was a, you know, overall it was a very bad situation. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for anybody here. It was a very bad situation to be in, but it didn't happen because we had a weak, feckless weak president that was the problem. It wasn't the issue. The problem that we had was we had a corrupt mayor who wanted his kickbacks more than he valued the voters who put him in office.
I am not the one in danger.
And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and cover the fact that you know, blame Bush was a very big joke to me, because almost everything they blamed Bush for wasn't. I mean, there were some things that you could sit there and hold the former president for. But New Orleans, if you wanted to be technical, was not one of them. And I'm pretty sure I'll get some haters who say Ghost is lying out his butt. You know, it's all Bush's fault. Look, I have very little love for lying politicians who only care about lining their pockets. As far as I'm concerned, they should be taken out behind whatever building they're in and put down like a dirty little dog, and put down like a dirty rabid dog, as far as I'm concerned. But the problem is that these people have been sitting in Congress and or they've also been in non-elected positions for years, and in some cases it's nearly impossible to get them out.
Friendly soul inside over here.
Yeah, she knows to lay low until the coast is clear. She's not gonna poke her head out until you light up that totem there to signal you're legit.
You planning on telling me how?
It's kind of like a puzzle with bells and symbols and shit. You gotta ring the bells in order. What, you ain't never solved a puzzle before?
Okay. Did I do it wrong? Yeah, I must have. Nope.
Boom! Nice. I can see it from here. Try putting the cashola down, yeah? That'll get her attention too.
Where do I put the money?
Yo, what gives? We're supposed to meet the boss. Who the hell are you?
It behooves you not to
Thing I got is still
round
better.
this one.
Yeah, that don't work for me. My deal was for the boss, not his little lapdog. Besides, ain't you the jerk that offed up pal number one? Tell you what, chump. You give me 10 times what the boss promised us, and then we got a deal.
Wow.
10 times? What do you think this is, huh?
We got a deal or not?
You think you can do this shit? To me? You get me the package. You get the money the boss agreed to.
Or, and I think this idea's a winner, ladies and germs, we keep the package, take your money for wasting our time, and kill you for whacking our informant.
Look at you, God! Huh? This is your lucky day. You seem to have wasted your life.
Why is it always with the Ripper that's always blood and guts? You'd think they'd be smarter about it.
Just ripped you from the land of living. She did not know who she was playing with. I got the goods, boss.
When someone forgets who's in charge, accidents happen. Cost of doing business. Now grab that package and take it to a little hideaway of mine. Got something there.
But you know but the corruption I was talking about.
Echo 4. Hold us with you.
In New Orleans is the kind of thing that is most common. Somebody bribes somebody in a branch. The payment comes through. And you know that's the most common form we hear about. The thing that you don't hear about is how let's see, 2 more and 1 here, I suppose, and we'll just filter it out as we go. But you know, this is that's the most common form of corruption you hear about. You don't hear about how the heads of specific executive branches veto laws that would benefit people but not the state or not the government, and they veto them on the basis of other things. I mean, there have been multiple states that have am I remembering this wrong? Wait, no. That's right. In California, this is an example of money manipulation here. In California, there was a push to get paternity laws on the books to where it would make it a crime for a woman to lie about paternity of their children, and to even knowingly put a man on the birth certificate who's not the father. If a woman knowingly did that, that would be an arrestable action. And it would be a form of fraud. And this was expected to be retroactive. As in, and also men could potentially petition to get their names removed from...
Boss, we have got some vermin, and I am not talking about rats.
Who says they ain't there on purpose? Keeps the riffraff away. Just clear them out.
And, you know, the law had made its way through the California Senate, the legislator in California, and the governor was set to sign it. But when the governor really looked at this law, he sent it back and said, let's redo this. And he said he wouldn't sign it until they redid it. And there was like, oh, why is this?
You should see a cyber lathe in there. It'll crack that container, no sweat.
And you know, there were a lot of people scratching their heads like, huh, why is the governor who was originally on board with this You know, why is he all of a sudden against signing this particular piece of paper?
It's all about sustainability, you know? Entrepreneurial recycling.
Done! You know I'm surgical with this shit.
So there was a head scratch. And then once some people investigated and started looking into this, most people, because a lot of people forgot about Title 4D. Now, if you really want to know about how Title 4D works, you're going to want to go look up other videos, because I've scratched the research on the surface of that. But in layman's terms, for Title 4D, it's basically reimbursement grant money, if you will. Here, I mean that's the polite way to phrase this.
There's my number one. You got the tech?
Ah, I got it all right.
And ow, my joints.
See, I knew you would already.
But anyway, when it comes to Title 4D, most states go out and have collection measures to quote unquote collect Title 4D.
Incendiary B&E with a touch of robbery.
And I just lost my train of thought there for a second. I'm sorry. But basically, it's money that gets paid back to the state for their supposed collection efforts.
That is, unless you want the son of a bitch to come back to life.
I cannot think of anything I want less.
Great. That order tech you picked up is some real custom shit. Ain't much to look at, but combine it with a catalyst and it packs a pretty explosive punch.
Why bother with this other facility? We have the coordinates. Can we not just use this to explode our way into Lecter's bunker?
What a great idea. I never considered. Come on, the bunker's fortified to Elpis and back. We'll need something real special to breach the place. Speaking of which...
Is that Bruce?
Yep. His head anyway. For now. Go on, pick him up.
Oh boy.
Old Brucey boy's the catalyst for that device. Put them together and blammo! Concentrated ordinite blast. Exactly what we need to break into the bulkhead factory. And why are we breaking into the bulkhead factory? So we can rebuild Bruce stronger than ever. He's how we crack into Lecter's bunker, but the poor schmuck can't do squadoosh until we get him new parts from the factory. Got it?
The factory will not know what hit it.
So what would this law have done? It would have essentially broken the Title 4D money. Let's put this in somewhat accurate terms. It would have broken the Title 4D's money accurate terms for the grant for the reimbursement grant. So now all of a sudden, states that are getting money, so the states that are getting reimbursed by saying, "Hey, we collected this much child support. How good of us?" And
waterfall boy. This ain't half bad.
Made it. Wasn't planning on doing that, but
You will die second.
and from there, the money is, you know, goes back into the state's budget. So if they had signed that bill, that would have effectively nearly destroyed the state's ability to collect money from the Title 4D. Because you would have had so many men who more than likely knew that they were not the fathers, but they were being forced to pay child support because, oh, I don't know, considering how many extramarital affairs women tend to have nowadays. I mean, in the United States, it can vary from state to state, or at least that's what the data we know tells us anyway. But with that in mind here, that would have basically would have hindered California's grant money. So the governor, when they realized this, said, well, we can't sign this. Well, I can't sign this without the state losing a massive revenue stream.
Perfect. Bruce is in position.
So instead of this all-encompassing law that would, which would enforce.
These bunkheads cannot stand my ass, boss.
Out of the way and find the office upstairs. You're looking for a computer with access to the stock database. That'll tell us where they're storing the good shit.
Which would have enforced paternity testing, would have also allowed men who had been put on a birth certificate because they were still legal, because the men were still legally married. Because in some cases there was cheating, in other cases it was separation. Both parties moved on, but the woman still got pregnant while she was married, even though the couple had been separated. And you know, there were a couple of news stories where this actually affected family dynamics, where men who were still legally married to their spouses at the time they got pregnant, state was trying to come after those men for child support, even though their names weren't on the birth certificates, period. They had never been claimed on the birth certificate or anything of the sort. But because of how the laws were written, these men were, the term was labeled dad by default. Now, we're also not talking about cases where men were in jail and other stuff, but
You might have to move some crap around to get up to the office. Keep an eye out for a switch.
what does it mean, adjust the grapple? That's an extra thing, but I don't see where I'm supposed to adjust the grapple. I don't see where I'm supposed to do that. Oh, it's over here. It's a switch. But it's just supposed to make, oh, it's just supposed to make it easier to get over here then. Not really worth it, but maybe if it gets me an extra reward, sure, I'll take it.
Great. Find out where they keep the fancy stuff.
Looks like the new Bruce parts are in storage area G.
Okay, no sweat. G should be on the upper level. There's a side door that should lead you there.
Side door. I'm guessing it's over there. Oh wait, no. I'm not supposed to be over here. It's an off-limit zone. How wonderful. Is it this side door that it means? Not down there, not that door. No, I go over there. Yep, this door. So, when it came down to it, the governor decided that the states, that one of the most broke states in the union needed its grant money more than it needed honesty for for male citizens.
I'm not getting up there.
Aye, son. Sounds like a job for our pal Bruce. Find a spot and put him down.
So, you know, it's what do you do? So instead of getting the all-encompassing law that would have basically made it so that things were done fairly, I guess you could say. Or there was reasonable recourse in case you were falsely put on a birth certificate. It basically made it so. It basically said you have 1 year to contest a birth certificate if you have any suspicion to believe that the child is not yours. 1 year. And most people would say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, the sad part is in a lot of cases, when it comes to certain ethnic traits, not everyone is going to notice the difference. I mean, this isn't the story of Caucasian woman, Caucasian man go to the hospital, and instead of the baby being purely Caucasian, it's kind of obvious that this is a child of an African American man and a Caucasian woman. I imagine there were some cases where that did happen, and the law was used in that regard. But, in cases where the woman clearly was sleeping with someone who looked similar to her husband, boyfriend, whomever, unless there's something that tips them off, you're never going to know. I mean, just as an example here, there's a YouTube short of a man who walked into court with with his ex-wife, you know, mind you, this is a 70-year-old man, and he hasn't had suspicions, but he suddenly finds it odd. But the way that it wasn't that he had underlying suspicions, it was just that I think there was a medical incident and he found out he couldn't be a donor to his kids, and he was like, huh, that's weird. And the man, for some reason, he had to take it to the courtroom to actually get the test done. And as it turned out, not one, not two, but all 3 of the children that he had with that woman, that were supposedly his children, none of them were biologically related to him. So now the man, this woman's crying. She's like, no, 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 no. But, you know, she's sitting there putting on a theatrical performance. Because if you go on TikTok or you watch some of the street interviews that are on YouTube, you know, women's attitude isn't that it's sad that you know, it's sad that this man, it isn't sad that this man got tricked. It's be grateful I even had kids so you could raise them. And, you know, there are even Reddit stories out there of women who had children, but the men was somebody who they'd never have children with, went out, found a man who was much more appealing to them to have children with, and got knocked up by them. But you know, the thing was that these women had children with men, would not have had children with the men who were the actual biological fathers of said children, not because they would not have made good fathers, or at least good fathers in their mind. For the children. So when that in situations when that happens, you know, the woman does it, but you know, it isn't obvious. So from there, you know, the question then it gets asked and then becomes, well, if there are women out there who have this attitude, because it's not all women who have bad attitudes or malfeasant or malicious intentions in these ways. I mean, at least not that we can legally determine anyway. I mean, supposedly there are a couple Reddit stories where a man found out, you know, 20 years after the fact, and he started going through her journals, and he found out that she had maliciously been planning this and plotted out for this fraud to happen. And he took the journals to court, and he sued for fraud, and because it was her own words, the judge banged the gavel and said, you committed fraud, you need to pay him back. Because fraud, when it comes to money, or at least monetary things, you know, that's when judges tend to be a bit more proactive in that regard. Now, is that always a guarantee? No.
Roast beer too well.
It's not always.
You sent the pots everywhere.
It's a hope and a prayer, I guess you could say, that a judge would be proactive and fair about things like this. But is it always a guarantee? No, it's not. Because a judge's actions are never always guaranteed. So, you know, we have to sit here, scratch our heads and say, well, what do we do? And now, back to California, you know, how is this a form of corruption? Well, it goes back to money, honey.
You are all flawless. No substance.
Because the state wanted to keep getting its Title 4D grants, which, for California, you know, that's understandable. I mean, California is technically one of the most broke states in the union. So it does make sense that they would want to keep as much money flowing in as they can. That makes sense. That's true. Does it make it right that California, that this law was about to be signed and the governor was like, uh-oh, we're gonna have a really big money budget issue if we sign this thing? Does that make it right? No, it doesn't. And this is one of those forms of internal government corruption. Because money. You know, we could sit here and make a Mr. Krabs joke here. You know, money, 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 money. But here's the problem. Here's the really, 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 really big problem. If a state is going to pick money in the form of a federal reimbursement grant, if it's going to pick that over something that a crap ton of citizenry wanted, I mean, even in the state of Utah, there was a huge fight a couple years ago to get medical marijuana usable because there were people with autism and other things that if they were given specific doses of cannabis, I mean, there were news, I mean, some of the local journalists did stories about people who were forced to buy these heavily overpriced medications. When the cannabis option was a lot cheaper and a lot less expensive, and the person and the autistic person actually responded better to the cannabis.
The place is clean, boss.
There you go. Nicely done.
And, you know, this was one of those stories where it was like, why aren't we allowing why aren't we allowing the use of medical Mary Jane for people who would actually benefit from it greatly? And an investigative journalist actually went and did some digging, and lo and behold, what did they find? A lot of the money that was coming to oppose this bill, where was all that money coming from? It was all coming from Big Pharma.
Hey, boss, I gave Val Lecter a man-sized hit. How can these backups bring him back from that?
The guy basically uploaded his consciousness into a computer, right? All he gotta do is download it into a suitable body and bada bing, bada boom. A fresh file Lecter's ready to go.
That is a damn good trick. Guess we gotta wipe them all out.
Every single copy has to go if we want to leave that asshole in the dirt where he belongs.
I thought you would die. I fell. Cananzi speaks.
And it was heavily opposed by Big Pharma because in states where they had passed the use of medical cannabis, well, all of a sudden, if, you know, let's say cancer patients here, as an example, if you give cancer patients who are taking a whole battery of medications to become hungry, to feel hunger, because chemo, not only do you lose your hair, you can lose your appetite and other things. And, you know, when it came out that if you had cancer and, you know, you smoke a couple of joints, and all of a sudden you want to eat, you feel the urge to eat, you want to do this, you want to do that, and it also numbs the pain of what you're going through without having to take this mega load of medications. Well, suddenly, you know, you're replacing, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 different medications with with smoking 1 or 2 joints of Mary Jane. And now all of a sudden, you don't have to take these 5 medications that are possibly leading to some slight toxicity or other things. So, you know, if you're Big Pharma and all of a sudden you're losing, $300,000 a month because you had a massive amount of people swapping to medical marijuana, gee, that hurts your bottom dollar a little bit, doesn't it? And might make some people angry. So, you know, government corruption works in many, many ways. But, you know, sadly, the easiest way to find it is to follow the money, honey.
You drive a hard bargain. That'll keep the pusher if you can. Wait. If you got any more like that, you drive a hard. You snap back. Your tickle snusser. What'll do with it?
Too bad you can't make money like this in the real world. Run around, do some adventure, run around, do some adventuring. Harm those who are trying to harm you, take their stuff, take it to like a pawn, like a sailor shop, or just start selling it. And you know, you walk, instead of walking away broke, you walk away with about 5 years worth of rent. And groceries and everything too. Damn, that sounds nice, doesn't it, folks? Alright, well, we'll cut things off here, everybody. This is as good of a place as it is going to be to stop. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed my talking points. I stream every Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see everybody